David Benavidez sparked out David Lemieux in 3. The only question is, who's next? We're going to talk about that right after this. What's going on, A-Side family? This your boy Truth, and that's short for Truth Over Narrative. Welcome to A-Side Boxing Talk. Again, before we start, you see this hat that I got on? This video is sponsored by Cut Different Clothing. If you like what you see, go over here to the description. You'll see the website there. You can go on there. You can shop, buy what you want. They got sweats, they got socks, they got hats, you know, and a couple other things over there as well. But again, shout out to Cut Different Clothing. It's keeping me good. You see, I'm a little nappy right now, man. I'm a little not nappy. I'm a little rough right now. But at the end of the day, I throw my Cut Different hat on and we rock out. So, David Benavidez, you know what I'm saying? 26-0, 23 knockouts, just coming off a crazy beating of David Lemieux, stopped him in 3. Hey man, David Benavidez, he's one of those guys. He does not have the resume, but he passes the eye test, man. I'm telling you, this dude passed the eye test. I mean, his biggest fight to date, I was there back in September 2019 on the Sean Porter and Errol Spence undercard where he stopped Anthony Durrell. So that's his biggest win to date. You know, after that fight, he was supposed to fight, I believe it was Angulo, you know, lost the title on the scales, you know, couldn't make the weight. I know he previously lost the title for some cocaine use. After his the first time he won the WBC title at 168. So, I mean, here we are again, man. The dude done fought 3 or 4 times. He's ranked #1 by Ring Magazine, #1 by the WBC, #2 by the WBO. I don't know why the IBF and the BA, I don't have them ranked, but it is what it is, man. You know, these sanctioning bodies, they do whatever they want to do. So at the end of the day, until we get some oversight on these sanctioning bodies, we'll continue to have issues where guys are clearly one of the 2-3 best, but in the division, but not ranked by the sanctioning bodies. Hey, one thing about David Benavidez is that dude is explosive. He gets stronger and stronger every round. His hands are super fast. As a super middleweight, his hands are not supposed to be that fast. He comes forward and he works the levels. This guy's going to the body, head, head, body, head. I mean, he works you. He's not a head hunter. He's going to slowly break, well, not slowly, but he's going to break you down and he's going to get you out of there. Let's say, I mean, David Lemieux, he said he was going to come to fight. He came to fight, but it just wasn't enough. He didn't have anything for David Benavidez. If this was the old days, right, if this was the 70s and early 80s, we'd probably see David Benavidez back out next week, right? But at the end of the day, we're in the new era, and these fighters are getting paid a lot more money, and so, yeah, that's not going to happen. One thing I was very surprised about is that David Benavidez, he dispelled a lot of the myths and a lot of the rumors that he was a weight bully, and he came in for that fight against David Lemieux at 166.2, I believe, right? So that's about almost a full 2 pounds under the 168 limit for super middleweight. So I think that was very important because it shows that not only, hey, that he's dedicated, not only, hey, him missing weight was possibly a fluke. Obviously, he just said he didn't have the things that he normally used to cut weight, and you know, he was the first fight in a bubble for Showtime PBC. So, you know, it just was what it was, man. I mean, you know, when a guy says something, you got to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt until he shows you that, you know what, we can't trust you. You know, when we get into what's next for David Morrell, excuse me, not David Morrell, when we get into what's next for David Benavidez, you say, okay, Caleb Plant, right? So I personally don't think that, obviously there's bad blood there, and I think that financially, I think storyline-wise, I think fan involvement-wise, that's the biggest fight for David Benavidez, is a Caleb Plant fight. But I just don't think with David Benavidez's supposed comeback date for his next fight to be around November-ish, I just don't see Caleb Plant, who fought, you know, Saul Alvarez in November, to take a full year off and then come back against David Benavidez. I just don't see Caleb Plant doing that. He's not that type of fighter. Most fighters these days aren't those type of guys that just do things like that. I mean, it takes a special fighter for that. And not to say he's not special, but I want to see Caleb Plant, you know, work his way back, you know, maybe take a fight in an interim and then go and see David Benavidez. Then you got Jamal Charlo. Obviously, he got the Juneteenth weekend fight with Selecki. Still going to be at 160. Again, I still don't see Charlo's first fight at 168 becoming being David Benavidez. Then you got the dark horse, right? Who I think he's going to fight next. David Morrell, right? David Morrell's only like 5-0, like 4 knockouts. But you know what? Both of these guys haven't really had those fights that we want to see, right? They haven't had, you know, those step up fights, those championship level guys. And we want to see that. They're both young. We know David Morrell was an amateur star in Cuba. He's not a typical Cuban fighter. He likes to come forward, very heavy-handed. And I think that this fight will make fireworks, man. Shit, you put this in a Barclays or you put this in wherever, right? You could put it in the Armory, put it anywhere. I think David Morrell versus David Benavidez, I think that is a fight of the year contender. And I'll be in the building for Roman Fulton, which David Morrell and Calvin Henderson is the co-main for that. So he's fighting Benavidez just for May 21st. Morrell is fighting June 4th. They only a month apart, so that means that they both could literally step in the ring against each other in November, right? And David Morrell is the WBA regular champ. So if he happens to lose against Benavidez, Benavidez will not only be the #1 guy in the WBC, #1 guy ranked at ring, #2 in the WBO, he'll be the WBA regular champion. You know what I'm saying? So I just really think that that fight should be next for David Benavidez. You know, we had Samson in the space, and he talked about how he wasn't really interested. Well, Samson, you know, Samson Lukowicz is, you know, David Benavidez's manager, promoter, you know, whatever you want to call him. But he spoke about how he wasn't really interested in the Andre fight because or whatever kind of looming issues that he has or doesn't have with the WBA. Either way, it doesn't matter, right? He's moving David Benavidez well. He's moving his other fighters well. And I truly think that a David Morrell fight is what we should be calling for. It makes the most sense. It's the most feasible. David Morrell, I don't think he's getting paid $1 million yet for fights, right? So I think him and Benavidez, that's an easy make. That's an easy make, and it makes for fireworks. Two guys, a close in age. They're both heavy hitters. They both like to come forward. You've never seen either guy on the back foot for too long. And hey, let's do it. I mean, and this is gonna pop 168 off and hopefully help that become a bigger division as, you know, some guys, you know, start to move up and I really think we could get a tournament. And I spoke about that before. I think we could get a tournament at 168 with, you know, David Morrell, David Benavidez, Caleb Plant, possibly Demetrius Andre coming over. I know him and Eddie Hearn has just cut ties, so he's a promotional free agent right now. And then obviously just the dark horse and Jamal Charlo, seeing if he's going to move up or what's going to happen with him. But like I said, that's 4 or 5 guys right there. We can get a round robin so that whatever happens with Canelo and these other 168 titles after he fights Golovkin in September, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, like I said, I'm very impressed by David Benavidez. He's a great fighter. He passes the eye test. We just have to see him in there with stiffer competition. Point blank, period. You know what I'm saying? And I do think he beats everybody at 168. Everybody. I think that David Benavidez beats... No. I think David Benavidez stops everybody at 168 while he's at 168. I don't see anybody beating him there. There are some good fights there, some challenging fights. I just don't see it. Now, granted, like I said, he doesn't have the resume to back up, you know, these high claims and these high accolades that I'm giving him. But neither does guys like, you know, Jaron Ennis. But at the end of the day, these guys pass the eye test. They look good, and we want to see them in there with stiffer competition. So, hey, let's have it, right? Like they say in the UK. Once again, you know, this is A-Side Boxing Talk. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, and we'll see you back the next time.